Okay, in the last recording we talked about how to do on-page links. Now I want to talk about how to link to other pages within your site though. And here's my index page, and down here at the bottom I have links to the demo page. And these are hiding in the details folder, and that's important. I have links to the demo page and links to the other page, the image demo, and links to the other page. So again, real quick, I'm going to do a quick style change here because I don't want the bullets on those. I'm simply going to remove them. So down here, I'm now going to add a footer, and if I'm following Tim's advice in alphabetizing, I'll put it up here. Footer. I want to just do the list style type none, that's all. I don't necessarily need those to be in line. You've seen how to do it.
Make it more specific, what you want to say, footer.
List items, yeah, I probably should. Otherwise the entire, but the list style only applies. You know what, that's an interesting question. Let me save that and see if it works. Didn't work, right? I did save it. I did, and I did refresh. I did, and it didn't work. Because it's not a matter of being more specific. The footer tag itself doesn't have a list item type, so I have to say the footer list items, and now they disappear. Now I could put icons on those. You guys got experience with that in your last assignment. You can change these. It's not a matter of how do you format these. It's can you get the links in? That's what I'm looking at in this next chapter. Okay, so this first one needs to link to the demo page. And my books or my notes are going to go into a pretty elaborate little example here. Let me see if I can zoom that in a little bit. Oops, wrong way. Nope, can't get any closer than that for some reason on my text. Doesn't want to let me. There it goes. Control zoom didn't do it. When you have a website, particularly as they get more and more complex, you're going to organize it, should organize it into folders. If you don't, you're looking at thousands of files all in one folder and trying to find your way through them. Right? We've already started organizing our files into images folders and CSS folders, and mine has details, this one says information. If you look at my website on, let's see, flash drive, that's not going to be good enough. Yeah, there is a way I can do that. Hang on a second. Let's take a quick look at the flash drive, and maybe this will work. I hope so. Okay, here's my website for MSTC. It's got the cool stuff folder, it's got courses folder, it's got CSS images, PSO folder, all kinds of stuff in the courses folder. There's a folder for every single course. There's also an archives folder. In the archives folder, there's a folder for every archived course. And every course, as you saw there for just a second, has an assignments folder, an evaluation sheets folder. If we go into web programming, there's Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. It's just like your hard drive. The better you organize it, the quicker you can find stuff. Right. Problem is, the more you organize it, the more complicated it can be sometimes to link from one page to another, if that's what you want. In order for a page to link to another page within the site, it has to be able to, in my notes I italicize this, see that page. So what I always do, I always use as an example, is my computer window here. If I want to link from index to the image demo, it can't see it. When I'm in my computer and I'm looking right now in the images folder, I can see these folders, or in the index picture, excuse me. I can see these folders, but I can't see what's inside them. And so if I want to reference one of the pages, I first have to tell the browser that the page you're looking for is in the details folder, and now I can see them. Same is also true if I'm on one of these pages and want to go backwards to the index page. I can't see the index page. You, the web developer, have to be able to encode into your HTML the fact that to get to the index page, you have to go up a level.
So
And there you'll find the index page. How do I go up a level?
data.
How many dots? Two. Two dots is an old DOS remnant of a terminology used in DOS for go back up to my parent folder, if you will.
Does a single dot still work?
Single dot does in some cases, but that means the page I'm on right now or the location I'm in right now. I tried that. It didn't work for index. Good thought, but it didn't work. I tried it. What was your other question?
So whenever you're dealing with web pages, everything is relative to where the current page is.
Where the current page that you're viewing is. Yes, everything is relative to the current page. So if I'm in About and I want to get to the car file, I obviously can't see it because the car folder or the images folder is not in the information folder. So I have to go from information back out, into images, /images, and then the name of the file that I want. So the more complex your website, the more of that stuff and folder name /folder name /folder name /folder name. We're going to see that here in a little while. It can get pretty deep. And if your folder names are huge, and if your folder names are capitalized in certain ways, and go to a Linux server, oh my goodness. Now capitalization is important, and the longer your folder names, the more you, the web developer, have to type. Our ways around that. Expression Web, which we'll see after Unit 5. Expression Web allows you to go to the website, find it, steal the address, paste it in here. It allows you to navigate through this and double click on car, and Expression Web will go, oh wait, that from where I am now, I gotta go up one into the images folder, and there I'll find car. It figures it out. Cool, until you're trying to write HTML using PHP, and you have to type it in there manually, and you can't figure out how to get there. So it's good to understand these things. The About page can directly reference the biography page because they're in the same folder. They can see it. Again, if I'm in details, my image links page can directly reference the other page because when I'm in the folder with this page, I can see this other page. So I can just directly reference it. But if I want to go to any other folder, I've got to get back out. If I want to, from in here, if I want to grab the CSS, of course I would. I want the CSS for all my pages. I have to go up a level, then into the CSS folder, and then get the linked CSS file. So all of that needs to be in your head. You need to be able to see it, and if you can't see it, you need to be able, and I always use Windows, you need to be able to navigate to it somehow. Windows does you a lot of favors. If you leave this open, it gives you the path here, and if you click on the folder, it actually converts it to the path, and you could steal that. Do not, some of you already have, steal this entire path and say the websites folder is on the C drive and the users folder in the student. What happens when you give it to me? It's not going to be in the student folder. It may not be on the desktop. These are called relative paths in relation to where I am. How do I get to the CSS file? How do I get to the images file? How do I get to this other page? In relation to where I am. All your addresses to your own site should be relative, not hard-coded like this. I've made that mistake. Or I hard-code it, say it's on a C drive, and then I take my flash drive someplace else and done. As soon as you move it, that link is now out of date. You can't find it. So all of your links should be relative. The ones to your own site should be relative. So how do we do some of that? Down here I have these links, and I want to link it to the demo page. Well, if I'm an index, I can't see the demo page. I have to go to details, and so that's how I'm going to build my link now. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to create a link, an href. That's still the same. All these links that we're creating to a bookmark, to a site in my website, to a site somewhere else on the web, they're all ahrefs. Ahref equals, and I want to go from where I am, the index page, to the details folder. Regular slash, those of you who are old DOS users don't put backslashes in there, means something different in HTML. That's taken forever for me to get used to. I think I finally got it after 15 years. And then what's the name of the page? Image links.html. And yes, you need the extension. So there's my link. This says, go to the details folder. You should be able to see it. What happens if I can't? And then you get one of those error messages, page not found. It's not there. I can't find it. Go to the details folder. There you should find an image links.html file. If any of those things are typed wrong, it won't find it. In Windows, if you don't capitalize it right, it'll find it anyways. If I find that you've capitalized it inconsistently, I will mark it wrong, because when you go to a Linux server, the Linux server is going to choke on it, because Linux servers are case sensitive, and many of your websites are going to be hosted if you decide to create one on a Linux server. Brittany?
So if you were trying, for whatever reason, to put a link like in your CSS file, link it to something.
No, you don't link your CSS file to anything.
Well, I'm just saying for an example.
Can't.
You could go like dot dot.
Oh, if I want to
slash
link to my CSS file? Oh, no, you're talking about images. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So let me use that example because a couple of you ran into it. She's in the CSS file and she's trying to link her image bullet, right?
Mhm.
Well, I can't see the file here, so I'm going to go up a level. There's my images folder. So you do the dot dot slash images slash my bullet dot png or whatever you've got. Yes, it applies to everything. Until we get to web programming, and then the rules change. Actually, they don't. But what's bizarre in web programming is every single page in your website is called index. And it's always out there in the root. The index page in web programming will morph. That's my term. It morphs. It becomes this page, and then we modify it, it becomes this page, and then we modify it, it becomes this page. It's always right there, though, right there in that folder. And so the links to CSS, the links to images, the links to other pages, they're always the same. You don't have to worry. I hardly ever put a dot dot in there anymore. Brittany's example is one where I might have to use it because the images and the CSS are in two different places. Was another hand?
I was just wondering, what if you have to go back multiple folders?
Then you dot dot slash dot 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 slash, because you always have to put slashes between your folder names. The dot dot is just a shortcut for my parent. And actually it's not a shortcut, it's the only way to get to my parent. Okay, so here's a link to the other page. So that should be very similar in this case. I haven't tested this one yet, and I didn't put my end A on there. Save it, test it. Okay, there's my link. At least I know my links are working, and I know my link ended in the right place because this one didn't turn blue on me. So then I can click on that, and it takes me to the links demo page. I can hit the back button and go back. That works just fine. All right, now let's do the other page. Should be very similar. Copy it, paste it, end it, and change the name from image links to other sites. And there's the other site. So from index to the other sites, you go, just give it the folder name and go. But now I want to do the same thing for these. One of the things I'm wondering is, why is my title here black? And when I went to the images page, my title is black, it's not centered, it's not blue. My links down here, they're in a footer. I guarantee you they're in a footer. Why aren't they bullet free? What's your first suspicion?
Not linked to the CSS file?
My CSS file link is not right. I can't find it. So either I mistyped it or something. So let's go take a look. Image links and others. And let's just start with image links. Image link has a CSS links.css. That's the right name. No? No, because where was I? I was in the details folder. How did I get there? I had to go up a level, then I can see the CSS folder. What is that? How did I get in a different window? Grief. And the same problem here. Let's save it and close it. I must have accidentally double clicked on something important to make it open in a new window. Okay, so now save them all, refresh, that's better, and those are gone. And if I go back to the other page, that's better. Okay. So that dot dot is an important concept to keep in the back of your mind. Now I want to link from my image page back to the index. From in here, and I love this up button. This is a Windows 8 thing, I think. I don't think it's in 7. This is an up button. Go back up to my parent. I don't care, not back to the last folder I was looking at. It might have been my parent, but back to, go up to my parent. And there's the index file. So in order to see the index file, I have to go up to the parent. Then there's an index.html. And this is where Reen was asking, could I cheat and say, I'm in the current folder? Well, this means current folder. And I thought, because there's a PHP feature that uses this, I thought by saying I'm in the current folder, I didn't give it a file name, so where should it be looking? Index.html, default.html, those standard file, doesn't work. But you actually ended up getting, what I ended up getting here was a directory of the files, which was weird. Okay, so I want index.html. End that. Test it. It's the wrong page. Okay, got a nice link. And notice down at the bottom, most of these browsers will now show you where that link goes. It says, wait a minute, C user student desktop unit 4 websites done indexed HTML. I didn't put that C users stuff in. No, the browsers do that. They translated my dot dot into file, C:user student desktop unit 4 websites done. That's what dot dot turned into. If I post this on my website someplace, it doesn't turn into a file, it turns into an HTTP, and it figures out the folder name on my server instead. And so the browsers are updating. So if you touch these and you see this big old long thing, geez, I didn't type that. Be glad you didn't have to type it. And now it took me back to my main page. Okay, for this one now, I want to go to the other page, but that one I can see. I'm in image links. I can see that one. So to reference it, all I have to do is put in its file name. You wouldn't believe how many times I've seen dot dot slash details slash other sites.html. That's where you just came from. Or are you going out and coming right back in again? Stay there. If you can see it, you can reference it directly. It takes me there. Now I need to do the same thing on the other site, other page, excuse me. I'm just going to steal definitely that one. Because on the other site, how do I get from other sites to index exactly the same way? So that one I can literally steal. And then down here, it's just a matter of putting in another link. I'm being brave, doing two things at once. Oh my goodness. Image links.html. And end it. Just cannot get away from that as today. Save it. Refresh this page because it's the one I just updated. There's my links. Goes back to index. Good. And this one should take me to the images page. And it does. And if it ever doesn't work, you get a page 404 not found. First thing I do is touch the link and read what it's doing to me down at the bottom. That reference there can help you. If it's got misspelled other sites, maybe you can see it. If the path doesn't make sense to you, why am I in the details folder? That might be a clue. Maybe you did need, as John said, 3 sets of dots, dot, dot, slash, dot, dot, slash, dot, dot, and you only went back 2. The folder reference here will be wrong. You won't find the page, and you'll be able to see the, oops, I needed to go back up. You might be able to see the, oops, I needed to go back up another level. But that little tooltip down at the bottom, all the browsers do it. When you touch a link, you can see where it's going. Have you all discovered view source? On any page, you can say view the page source, and it'll give you another window that shows you the HTML. Notice that this one doesn't do any of the translations. A translation doesn't happen until somebody touches or clicks on a link. Then the dot dot gets translated into what's my parent folder and so on. This doesn't help quite so much this semester, but next semester it becomes very, very valuable. Okay, well, I've been jumping around again. So there's the diagram, and you can read these over, and basically says if you can see it, go to it. If you can't, you need to navigate to the folder to get there. I got stuff way off the screen here. Okay, web pages can see, link to a page, you must provide the path. In the example to the right, more and more stuff that we can notice how deep they get. This can see this, can see this. But if they want to get in there, they have to designate the folder name. If they want to get into Visual Basic, they have to do a dot dot Visual Basic and so on. We just talked about up using dot dot, and you can do multiple levels. One of the things you can also do in other sites, create a link, oh, okay. In the other sites page, I have a link to a bookmark in this site. So what I'm going to do is link this page, this is my other page, back to the index page, but I'm going to ask it to jump immediately to the Excel section of that page, instead of starting at the top. If you want to link to a bookmark, you have to combine our 2 techniques. Create an A tag, href equals, and I want to get to the index page, that's dot dot slash index HTML. Then on that page, I want to jump to a bookmark, pound sign. Notice you still use the pound sign, you just stick it on the end of the page name, Excel.
Notice in the URL it should say it up there too.
It should say what?
Pound sign and then the section.
Is in that URL down there.
Yep.
Right. So when you hover, it'll show you that there's a bookmark there. And occasionally that comes in handy when you're looking at somebody else's page, that there's bookmarks available. But when I click on this now, it goes not only to the index page, but immediately jumps me to the Excel section of that page. And that comes in handy sometimes. Don't want to start at the top and make them scroll for 10 minutes to find what they're looking for. Take them to the section that they want to see. So I believe that's links to, yep, that's all I have in here, links to other pages in your site and referencing images and CSS pages in your site. In the future, it's JavaScript. I want to link to the JavaScript folder, and I have some JavaScript stored in there. Depending on where you are, you need to add the dot dots or the JavaScript folder name or whatever to get there. It's called relative referencing, absolutely critical, so that when you send or you move your website from one place to another, I like developing on my desktop, and then it usually ends up on my flash drive. As soon as I move it to my flash drive, I open that site back up again and test it and make sure that all the links are still working. They should. You should be able to move it anywhere. Imagine how painful it would be to develop your website on the desktop. Everything works great. Now you move it to the server and every one of the links is wrong because it's a different address. But that's where the relative addressing comes in. Within my site, where am I? Where is this page that I want to jump to, or where is this image that I want to reference relative to me? Questions? I'm sure they'll show up after you try it.